Hello everyone, welcome back to another speed build. Today, we are attempting something a little ambitious. I don't really know what came over me when I decided to build this. I don't know if you guys were around for some of my Let's Plays recently, but I talked about how there was a point where I didn't sleep all night, where I pulled my first all-nighter of my entire life, and I just like couldn't fall asleep because I had received bad news about something, and I spent the entire night building in The Sims, and then I got up at 4 a.m. to do laundry. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but this is what I built all night. This is what I sat in bed on my laptop building when I couldn't sleep because I was in turmoil. So now you know, this was it. I was just lying awake. It's 3 a.m. or actually no, I probably started building at like 2 or 1 a.m. I don't remember, but I'm lying awake at night. It's 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or whatever, and I said, you know what? Screw this. I'm not sleeping. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna build a castle. And if you'll see, the picture in the corner is what I used for inspiration. I didn't even start building yet. What I started doing was just looking at pictures and saying, okay, like, eventually someday I will build a castle in The Sims, and I'm gonna, like, keep it open, like, I'm gonna keep the picture saved, and I'm gonna build, like, this is gonna be my inspiration picture. And then I ended up just opening up my game and building it anyway. So yeah, that's that, and this is the picture I used. It's a smaller castle. I didn't want anything too crazy, and if you could see a couple of seconds ago, I was having a lot of trouble with the terrain, because I don't use terrain tools all that often, actually. I never do anything with mountains or lakes or a giant moat, for that matter, so I'm not, the last time I used terrain tools was when I did the Phantom Manor build, and again, that was really not that good. It was very experimental there. And so yeah, I popped in and out of game to look at my inspiration picture, and I may forget to cut some of that out, some of me popping in and out, so my apologies there. But this video is just the exterior because it took me a really, really long time to figure out the exterior, and I didn't want to subject you guys to like an hour-long video. So rather than try and speed everything up to make it like dizzying to look at, I just decided to cut it into two halves. And I think with a build as big as a castle, two-parter build is not the worst thing in the world. So yeah, here I am. That looks terrible. Whatever I just did looked absolutely terrible. I'm actually pretty happy with how it ends up looking. It doesn't look exactly like the picture. Again, I was kind of just using that for inspiration. That's not like the exact era that I wanted my castle to be from. I wanted my castle to be more medieval. That kind of looks more like fantasy, or like, I don't know, that doesn't really look like explicitly medieval. So I didn't want it to look exactly like the picture. You also, in The Sims, can never make anything look exactly like the picture. It's just not possible. Yeah, I spent a lot of time, like, fudging with it to get it to work. But yeah, if you guys ever need inspiration, here's a pro tip from a pro builder. If you ever need inspiration for a build, just don't go to sleep. Just start building at 1 a.m. and just go until like 4 or 5 in the morning, and just don't sleep. Just never sleep. Never ever sleep. That's my advice to you, is just don't sleep. That's terrible advice. But honestly, I don't know like where this stroke of genius came from. It looks really bad right now. Like the roofing that I'm trying right now, it looks really bad. And I'm not going to cut out the roofing of this, mostly because it wouldn't be long enough if I did. And usually when I cut out the roofing, it's because I want to make everything fit into one video. But with this, I'm not trying to make it fit into one video. So I'm not going to cut out the roofing. But also, I'm not going to cut out the roofing this time because I want you guys to see my trial and error process, because it's quite a long one. So here is this thing actually ends up being not as even as I would have liked it to be. It's kind of not, yeah, it's not entirely a perfect shape that I wanted it to be, but you know, it's okay, because I wanted, you see how like in the inspiration picture there's like 2 short columns that are kind of small and then like a big one in the back. That's kind of what I was going for. And again, it was kind of a pain in my butt to figure out how to make it work because of all the levelings with the terrains. I had to put columns down to get the walls to be sturdy enough. And I figured out a tip to make the roof look really cool, like for like that style. You see the roof on the towers of the inspiration picture, how it's like a cone, but there's also like a flatter cone, like not a cone, a flatter circle underneath the cone roof shape. So what I did was I used the cone roof. Oh no, actually no, it's the other way around. I used the octagonal roof to make the cone shape, and then the cone, like the perfectly circular cone roof underneath that, and flattened it all the way. Like I'm gonna do it again. I'll show you. See? Octagonal roof and cone roof flattened all the way down, and there. I think that looks really, really cool, and I actually discovered that all by myself. So, giving myself a pat on the back. So, yeah. So as you guys know, I've been very busy lately. If you watched my speed build last week, that was a Victorian build. I just don't build normal houses. I build Victorian houses and I build castles. I've only built one normal house in the past like couple of months. But so I've been very, very busy, and everything that I'm recording voiceovers for now are old builds that I save specifically for when I am busy so that I can have something to post. Because I like to do my Let's Plays 4 times a week, as you guys probably know, Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday, Friday. I'd love to do 5 times a week, but that's just not realistic. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, but when I get really busy, that's not possible, so I had to sacrifice a little bit, but I still like to have something for you guys, you know, maybe to post like once a week. So last week I posted a Victorian build, and this week we've got the castle, and this is part 1, and next week you'll get part 2. Yeah, so I'm not planning on being active with my Let's Plays again for at least another week, just because I am super busy, and like finals and final papers and final performances and blah, 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 and moving out and everything like that. And I'm getting a new roommate next year, so I have to go to my landlady with her and have her meet her, and I have to transfer accounts over because, you know how I said I was getting a new job? Well, my parents want me to pay my own rent next year, which is fair. Like, I'm not complaining. Like, if I have the money to pay my own rent, I should be paying my own rent. Like, you know, I'm a 20-year-old adult. Like, yeah, whatever. But I have to now transfer all of the accounts over to my name, and I don't know how to do that, and I'm opening a checking account, and I'm just an adult. I'm an adult. I'm going to have a checking account, and I'm going to have to pay my own rent, and ooh, it's going to be a lot. But yeah, so I have to worry about all that, and then I only have a week off in May before I start my job at the amusement park. So, yeah, if you missed it, obviously I'm performing as a performer at at an amusement park, and I'm not going to say what amusement park just to keep my anonymity, but I'm going to be performing at an amusement park, like how Disney has rides and shows. It's the same kind of thing, except it's not Disney. I auditioned for Disney, and they didn't accept me, which is fine. I'm not bitter. So yeah, so I'm going to have limited free time this summer, but like I said, I still will try to record, but just right now with finals and with my final papers, I've been very, very busy. In the last speed build I did, I was talking about my nature versus nurture paper regarding Frankenstein, and I actually finished that paper. It's not due until Friday, which I'm recording this voiceover on Saturday, April 27th, and the paper isn't due until Friday, May 3rd, which I think this actually is going up on Friday, May 3rd. So it's due today. When you're seeing this, I'll have already handed in my paper, and my final is today. My romantic lit final is today. So, that's scary. I have to study for that too. So I finished my Frankenstein paper. I took it to my school's writing center because the last paper I handed in for this class, I didn't do really well. I got an 80, which, I mean, that is a good grade. Like, I'm not, like, trying to say, like, if you get 80s that you're a bad student. Like, an 80 is good, but just for me, I usually get, like, 90s or higher. And in my other English class that I took last semester, my American Lit class, I got, like, a 3.9 on my first paper and a 3.8 on my second paper. And so for me to get an 80 was kind of like a bummer, but I understand why. Like, it was a very problematic paper. I did not write it very well at all. But I didn't want that to happen with this paper, so I took it to the writing center, which I went and they gave me feedback, which they said it was a good paper. So it didn't get graded yet, but like I got it graded by somebody who works in the writing center, and they were like, yeah, this is an excellent paper. So I'm not worried about it really. So it's done. I just have to, they said that I had to add just a little something just to make myself seem more credible, and all that stuff. And so I just have to edit it a little bit, and then, yeah, so that one's done. My romantic lit paper about Frankenstein, nature versus nurture, is done. We talked about Frankenstein in the comments in the last video about how Victor is a terrible parent to the creature, and that's why the creature is a bad person. That's why he kills, because Victor didn't raise him right. You know, that's what I wrote my paper on, essentially, that Victor was a bad parent, and that's why the creature is like a murderer and everything, because like he wouldn't be that bad if, like, you know, he was treated with kindness and treated with love and raised properly and blah blah, because he's an innocent, like, kind of child when he first is created, and, you know, in like quotes, when he's first born. But Victor scorning him and the entire world treating him violently just ruined that. And then the rest of my paper was talking about how Victor wasn't raised right either, and that's why he's so egotistical and just a shitty human being in general. So that was what my paper was on. I finished it, and it's ready to go. I just have to edit it a little bit more, but that one's done. And I still have to write my 10-page theater history paper that I'm writing on Bob Fosse. He was something. He really was something. My dance teacher that I have here at my school, she worked with Bob Fosse. She was his dance captain for one of his shows. And she like knows him, like they were on a first name basis. I mean, he passed away in 1986, I think, or 88, like 86, 7, 8, somewhere around there. I should know. I'm writing a paper on him, but they were on a first name basis. My teacher was very close with Bob Fosse when he was alive, so that's really cool. So like when we did Cabaret, because he directed the Cabaret movie that Liza Minnelli was in, so like when we did Cabaret, like we had somebody that knew Fosse and like knew his style choreographing us, which is really cool. I have like so much respect for my teacher. But yeah, my theater history paper, which has nothing to do with my dance teacher, it's just a lecture class about theater history, but I chose to write it about Bob Fosse because he really changed dance in theater like forever with his innovative ideas and his style and the sensuality and his lack of sentimental stuff. Like he was very unsentimental, which is very like Brechtian, which I don't know if any of you know anything about theater history or anything about like Bertolt Brecht or anything like that. But yeah, so I have all of the information. I have 3 books that one of them is 729 pages. The other one is like 423 pages. And those are all, like, those two are like specifically just about Fosse. And the other one I have is about dance in America, and there's only like 2 pages on Fosse because there's one chapter on musical theater and then a few pages in that chapter about just Fosse. So, because I have to use 4 books because my teacher's an old fart and doesn't believe that I can find a credible source online because he doesn't believe in the internet because he's an old fart. Love him very much, but just very stuck in his ways. Which is really annoying when you're trying to write a paper in the year 2019, but you know, that's just my opinion. So I had to use 4 books, but my school's library only had 3 books that had Fosse's name in it. So he's letting me use 3 books and 2 articles. And I read 2 of the books yesterday. Well, I read like 200 pages into the 729 page book, and I took notes. And then I read like the second half of the 400 page book so that I could get like the beginning and end of his life, but like from 2 different books so that I could cite both of them. And then just some extra information from the couple of pages in the other book, and then some extra information from the 2 articles. And so I have, let's see, I have it open. How many pages? I have 6.5 pages of notes for the paper, and now I just have to turn those notes into a paper. I just have to write an intro, I have to come up with a thesis and everything, and I think my thesis is going to be something about like the Brechtian unsentimental qualities that he brings to theater. I'm so sorry, none of you care about this. I'm so sorry. I'm literally just rambling on. But anyway, Bob Fosse was wild. I don't know if y'all know anything about theater or about dance, but he did some crazy stuff, and he was such an unhappy man. And I mean, he was so successful, but he was so unhappy. It's really depressing. His life was really depressing. So yeah, I know more about his life than I ever wanted to, specifically his private his let's call it for the purposes of this channel his woohoo life. I know more about Bob Fosse's woohoo life than I ever wanted to, and we'll just leave it at that. I'm trying to find out about his dancing, his choreography, and how it impacted theater, and instead I was reading chapter upon chapter about his woohoo life and his marriage with Gwen Verdon, which, though interesting, is not what I'm writing my paper on. So yeah, I had a wild time. Also, the theater industry used to be so toxic. Like, the things that these poor young girls would do just to get hired was awful. It was so degrading and so horrible to women. I mean, oh my God. And I'm sure gay men too. I'm sure it wasn't just women, even, or maybe even like, I don't want to say that it was straight men. I'm pretty sure it was just women, but I think it was women and gay men that were forced to do a lot of things that they shouldn't have been forced to do. And like corrupt straight men really made it that way. And it, like, wow, it just makes me really grateful that the theater industry is not that way anymore. And that because you read these accounts of these girls and they just completely lost who they were, and they compromised every single one of their morals just to get a job. And I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine doing that. And it breaks my heart. I'm so glad it's not like that anymore, because I love this business. I would not trade what I am doing for anything. But if I had to lose myself that completely, I would never take a job that made me lose myself that completely. Even in like any way that compromised my morals regarding woohoo or not. I couldn't compromise my morals, even if it didn't involve that, like, just in any way. But woo, we're getting real deep here today with my speed build of a castle. But we've come pretty far right now since the last time I was speaking. Look at this. I'm making the castle wall. You just saw me make excuse me. I just got really phlegmy. You just saw me make the drawbridge. I cut out going all the way around, making those little castle-y bits on the top there, just because it would take a long time for you to see the whole thing. But now we are just putting bricks on the outside of the castle. Oh geez, and then I had to like color all of the things individually. Oh, that was such a pain in my butt. Yeah, that took me a long time. This took me a while. This took me like an entire night. It took me like 6 hours to do just this, because when I was doing laundry, I came back, because I was building in bed from like 1 or 2 a.m. until like 4, and then I got up to do laundry. But then, like, while my laundry was washing and drying, I sat back at my desk and was building. So I was building for like 6 hours, maybe even 7. I don't know, because then I got in the shower at like 9 a.m. and then I got back to my computer. It was wild. I was having a really wild time. It was hard. This night was hard. That was the night that, if you are curious, that was the night my roommate told me that she didn't want to live with me anymore. And I don't want to get into it, but like it was not a good time. Not a good time. So I couldn't sleep because I was in distress about it. But it just be like that. Oh, and then I had to delete all of those little bits because it was going to take me way too long to recolor every single little bit of it. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, because you can't, they're like a fence, but not, because they're like a combination, those bits that I'm putting on top of the roof and on top of the castle walls, they're a combination of a fence and a half wall. So, but they don't replicate like a fence, but they also don't, it's a pain. But I just put them all down and then recolored them as a one whole unit, and then I went back and deleted them. Like, see that little, like, every other thing I'm deleting to make it look like, the castle bumpies, you know what I mean? That's not in the inspiration picture, but that's, very medieval. So I did that, and I think it looks really, really cool. Oh, I missed one. Oh, maybe I did it off camera, or maybe not. Nope, I didn't. I need to fix that. But we are almost at the end of the video. I've talked for quite a long time about Frankenstein and about Bob Fosse. What else is new? They're just consuming my entire life. But other than that, because I finished the one, I still have to write. I have all of my notes for my Fosse paper now. I just have to write it. I have to come up with a thesis and just write it. And that's due on Wednesday. Go figure, I finished the one that's due later first. That was just stupid on my part. But I was more worried about the English one because it required more actual intellectual thought. My theater history paper is just kind of like restating facts that it's not as intellectually driven. It's kind of just a like, do you know what you're talking about kind of thing. So I wanted to do the English one first. So now I just have to do the theater one. Oh, I forgot to say, I also have a date tomorrow. I stopped using Tinder because it is dumb for lesbians. Also, just to confirm, I know that I said that I was bisexual in the Runaway Teen series intro, but I'm not. I'm a lesbian. I'm taking that back. I have since discovered that I don't like men at all. I don't want like people to be like, she said she was bi, but now she's saying she's gay. She's lying about her sexuality, because like I'm allowed to make mistakes about who I am, okay? I'm gay. So either way, I stopped using Tinder because it's bad for lesbians, and I got the Her app, which is a lot better, just saying, if there are any lesbians out there, or bisexuals that lean more towards girls, or that just want a girl and not a guy. Tinder is for straight people, or for people that want guys, or for guys that want girls. So I met this girl, and we're going on a date, and that's gonna be fun. And I told her that we couldn't go out until I finished my papers. So essentially, I have to finish my paper today because I planned the date for tomorrow. So I need to finish my paper after I record this voiceover yeah, so now we're just struggling to create the entranceway. I think I gave up on that and I just put in a better door at some point. Yeah, that looks terrible, Rosie. Stop it. Stop messing around. Oh, I didn't put a better door. I put 2 single doors and then an archway around them because I didn't like, the other door looked too like Gothic Victorian instead of medieval, so I did 2 wooden doors and then an archway. I don't know if that works. I haven't play tested it, so it looks cool. I think it looks cool. And now we're getting into the landscaping, which took me a long time because it was literally just like throwing random plants around, but it wasn't random. Like, there was like a method to my madness here, but it took me a long time. I cut out a lot of it. You'll see that I'll show you this side, the front of the building with the plants, and then I'll cut to the last couple, like the final stretch. Oh, sorry. My voice just died. I lined the walkway with rocks. I think this looks really cool. I think the landscaping is what really ties it together and really makes it more realistic. And I'm really proud of this build. I'm really happy with how it looks. I started the interior. I did the the floor plan, and I put down a little bit of furniture, like for the dining room, but it's not in this video. That's going to be in the next part, so stay tuned for the next part next week. I'll hopefully have it finished by then. Again, can't make any promises, and I will not be going back to Let's Plays until at least, because if it's Friday, May 3rd, next Friday is going to be part 2 of this series, and then hopefully the Monday after next Friday, I will be getting back to regular Let's Play uploads. So, yep, see, we just jumped ahead to the landscaping. I've already gone all the way around. It just was the same thing over and over again. You guys didn't need to see it. You'll see it in the screenshots, which you should stay tuned for. There's not that many because it's just the exterior, but I think they still look cool. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this build. I spent a lot of time on this, and I quite literally lost sleep over it. I stayed up all night to do this. And stay tuned for next week and all of that fun stuff. And yeah, this is Simmer Rose. Have a great day, guys.